Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Dan Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Before I get started with this review, let me send my well wishes to Liv Morgan. Unfortunately, Liv Morgan suffered a dislocated right shoulder earlier tonight in her match that didn't get to go anywhere with Kairi Sane. So I send my well wishes to her. And for those of you who grew up on DVDs that had that unskippable ad, if for those of you who grew up in the early 2000s, you know what I'm talking about. Every time you had a WWE DVD, there was always that last ad that you could not skip. No matter how eerie the music was, no matter how much you wanted to get away from the music, there was always that one unskippable ad pleading with young fans who sometimes did not listen when they said, please don't try this at home. Them commercials back in the day was eerie. You want to know what the problem with today is? The commercials, the don't try this at home isn't eerie anymore. Those commercials back in the day used to mess up my spirit a little bit. But hopefully you got the message. But in the meantime, my thoughts and prayers are with Liv Morgan. No, I am not like Booker T. But in any event, speaking of Akira, tonight we saw the return of Asuka in WWE. And for those of you who have been following me, you know my thoughts about Asuka being here. I want to see her go to WrestleMania, get her redemption. Number one, because someone as great as she is, to not have a WrestleMania victory is an injustice. But moving forward tonight, Asuka wins the match and will advance to the Queen of the Ring tournament. I truly believe she will be the one to do it. But during this Fatal 4-Way match involving Ivy Now, Raquel, and Stephanie Vakir, who gave Raquel the kiss of death on the outside, and Booker T has an erection that won't go away. We saw Asuka and Stephanie Vakir mix it up. Not Vakwe. No disrespect to Nikki Bella. You're awesome, by the way. Unfortunately, I'm a little concerned that we won't get Nikki versus Liv Morgan because Liv dislocated her shoulder. And things happen unexpectedly, which is why they tell you don't try these stunts. In the meantime, seeing Stephanie and Asuka mix it up got me very excited because that is a match I would love to see. It's so many Stephanie matches I would love to see. Her and Asuka, her versus Rhea. Rhea got involved to attack Raquel. So I think those two are going to go at it at some point again. Well, never mind. Moving forward, we also saw AJ Styles go at it with JD McDonough, winning the match, no thanks to the Judgment Day, who are still having their problems. But AJ is going to face Simp 19 Dom at King of the Ring later on, just 24 hours before my birthday on June the 28th at Night of Champions. However, I believe AJ Styles will become the champion, or at least I hope he does at some point. Intercontinental champion I'm speaking of. In small news, next week we're going to have Bayley versus Becky for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Speaking of Intercontinental Championships, they had a promo segment going back and forth today, 24 hours after Bayley's birthday. And of course, they talked about what it feels like to have to go and earn things and continue to fight for what you believe in, stuff like that. But we're going to get into it next week. Great to have Bayley back. Yesterday, I did a short about Bayley's birthday. Be sure to check that out. Also, in other news tonight, Goldberg came back and the rumors are true. Now, I'm a little mixed. And this is why. First of all, does anybody remember when there were exciting surprises? I mean, here's the thing. Thank God for internet. I'm happy that we are in the age of internet. However, I did grow up in an era where the internet wasn't as big as it was now. And I actually happen to have grown up in an era called ruthless aggression. So everything that happened was a surprise. There were no hints that we had growing up that there were going to be special returns. We just had to be surprised. And that was the good thing about it, is that we got to be surprised. However, when Gunther showed up and started yapping, I said in the beginning we're gonna get Goldberg eventually. So due to rumors, thanks a lot people who keep making it less fun for us. Thanks to rumors, and you can't believe everything you hear, but thanks to rumors spoiling everything, you hate when that happens. We knew that Goldberg was going to be here, and Goldberg was here, and we're going to get Goldberg versus Gunther. Now, to be honest with you, the only thing about this is, making no mistake about it, Goldberg is a legend. And it is not often that you get to see great legends still show the modern generation what made them special in their generation. But the thing about this with Goldberg is that I'm hoping that this match, in my former hometown of Atlanta, by the way, will be a good match. I really hope it's going to be pretty good. Now, Goldberg doesn't need a lot of time. He tries to make the best out of 5 or 7 minutes. So this match is going to be 7 minutes long when they go to Atlanta for the main event, Saturday's main event. However, I don't know if it's going to be as good as it were if Prime Goldberg from 2003 were to face Gunther. There would be no questions. But because this is Goldberg, who is up in age a little bit, but still pretty tough not to mess with, I don't know for sure. I just hope we don't get that disaster from Undertaker versus Goldberg, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Let's just hope for the best, respectfully. But speaking of best, the main event tonight was wild and awesome. We had Jey Uso, Sheamus, Rusev, whose Titantron looks like one of the guys from Fantastic Four. Speaking of giving tribute to people, today is Don West from AEW's birthday. Happy birthday, Don West. I don't like the guy. His theme song sounds like a succubus subliminal. I don't like Don West. I don't like the Don West family. You're nothing more than a Bobby the Brain Heenan copycat, Don. You're not the Don. And I think Tony D'Angelo will be offended by your name. But moving forward, this main event tonight was great. Jey versus Rusev versus Sheamus versus Bronson Reed, who had a Titantron that made him look like King Kong and Bigfoot. But in any event going forward, the match was wild. We saw Braun Breaker get involved. Then we saw Penta get involved. Then we saw LA Knight get involved, which eventually led to Jey Uso, with bad ribs, by the way, going forward to spear and splash Bigfoot King Kong Bronson Reed, because of the Titantron I'm speaking of. Then that wasn't enough, because Seth Rollins decides to come out and try to pick the bones of a worn-out Jey Uso, only to be rescued by Cody Rhodes, who he will be facing next Monday. Wild night, but an awesome one, in my personal opinion. Let me know in the comment section what you think about tonight's episode of Raw. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and that's all the time I have for you today, and I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling. Great main event. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.